Reclaiming your inner power is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you already are beneath the noise of expectations, obligations, and the endless roles you carry. For many women, life has a way of piling on layers of shoulds until your own voice is barely audible. You are the caretaker, the problem solver, the dependable one at work and at home. You pour yourself into everyone else until the only time you hear your own thoughts is in the quiet moments before bed when exhaustion sets in. This is where the journey of reclaiming begins, not with a grand gesture, but with a single decision: to listen to yourself again. The first step is to see how much of your daily life is shaped by old beliefs. Maybe you learned early on that your worth is tied to how much you can give. Maybe you grew up hearing that being selfless is the highest form of love. Those messages, repeated over years, become silent instructions that guide every choice. You end up saying yes when you mean no because you fear disappointing someone. You accept overwork and emotional labor as normal because you believe being busy equals being valuable. The truth is, those patterns are not who you are. They are habits built on someone else's definition of worth. Awareness is power. When you start to notice these patterns, you reclaim the ability to choose differently. You begin by asking powerful questions. Why am I saying yes? What am I afraid will happen if I don't? What do I actually need right now? These questions aren't indulgent. They are revolutionary. They interrupt autopilot living and create space for your own desires to surface. In that space, you can separate what is genuinely yours from what you've inherited from culture, family, or fear. Reclaiming your inner power also means setting boundaries without apology. A boundary is not a wall. It is a door with a lock that only you control. It says, I decide what enters my mind, my time, and my heart. Many women struggle here because boundaries can feel selfish. But think about it. When your energy is scattered and drained, how much do you really give to the people you love? Saying no is not rejection. It is a profound yes to your health, your goals, and the relationships that truly matter. Boundaries are not built overnight. They are strengthened every time you choose your truth over automatic compliance. The first few times you set them, you might feel guilty or fear conflict. That is normal. It does not mean you are wrong. It means you are rewiring years of conditioning. The more you practice, the stronger your inner authority grows. You stop explaining or defending every decision. Your presence speaks for itself. Calm, clear, unshakable. Another key part of reclaiming power is redefining strength. For too long, strength has been sold as constant hustle and unbreakable toughness. But real strength is flexible. It knows when to push and when to rest. It allows you to feel without being ruled by every emotion. It lets you admit when you need help and still trust your own resilience. When you own this kind of strength, life's challenges no longer feel like proof of failure. They become opportunities to deepen your wisdom and confidence. You also reclaim your inner power by rewriting the story you tell yourself every day. Our minds are wired to replay past mistakes and anticipate worst-case scenarios. That inner critic can sound convincing, but it is not the truth of who you are. Start catching the phrases that drain you, like I'm not good enough, or I'll never get it right, and challenge them. Replace them with statements grounded in reality. I'm learning. I am capable of growth. I have faced hard things before, and I can do it again. This is not about fake positivity. It is about training your mind to see your actual strength instead of rehearsing old fears. Reclaiming inner power is not only mental, it is physical. Your body holds the score of every stress and self-neglect. Pay attention to its signals. The tension in your shoulders when you agree to something you don't want. The fatigue that lingers because rest is always postponed. Treat these signals as sacred messages. Stretch, move, breathe, rest. Not as luxuries, but as daily acts of self-respect. When you reconnect with your body, you access a deeper well of intuition. You can feel what is right and wrong for you without needing anyone else's approval. Relationships also shift when you reclaim your inner power. Some people may resist your growth because it challenges their comfort. They may question your choices or accuse you of changing. And they are right. You are changing. You are no longer available for relationships built on one-sided effort or silent resentment. You begin to attract connections where respect flows both ways. You surround yourself with people who celebrate your boundaries instead of testing them. This process requires courage. It will bring moments of discomfort because stepping into your full power means letting go of roles that once defined you. But every time you speak your truth, every time you honor your needs, you strengthen the foundation of a life that is authentically yours. Reclaiming inner power is not a quick transformation. It is a practice of coming home to yourself again and again until your life matches your deepest values and desires. Radical self-love is not a grand, once-in-a-while declaration. It is a daily practice woven into every choice you make. It is about shifting from treating self-care as an occasional reward to making it the very foundation of your life. For many women, the idea of loving yourself sounds good in theory, but feels out of reach in the rush of responsibilities. You might think, I don't have time, or I'll focus on me after everyone else is okay. But radical self-love flips that script. It begins with the belief that your well-being is not negotiable and that taking care of yourself is the most powerful way to show up for the people and goals you care about. The first layer of radical self-love is how you speak to yourself. We all have an inner voice that narrates our days. For some, that voice is harsh, constantly pointing out flaws or replaying past mistakes. This inner critic can be so familiar that you mistake it for truth. But your thoughts are not facts. They are habits, shaped by old experiences and cultural pressures. Practicing self-love means interrupting that automatic negativity. When the voice says, "You're not good enough," you pause and replace it with words that honor your effort and humanity. You might say, "I'm learning and growing," or "I deserve kindness, even when I'm not perfect." Over time, these small corrections create a new mental environment where compassion, not criticism, is the norm. Nutrition and movement are also core expressions of daily self-love. This isn't about strict diets or punishing workouts. It's about feeding your body what makes it feel alive and strong, and moving in ways that energize instead of deplete. When you eat with intention, choosing food that nourishes rather than numbs, you send a powerful message: I am worth caring for. When you find movement you enjoy, whether it's a walk, yoga, dance, or lifting weights, you remind yourself that your body is not a project to fix, but a partner to celebrate. The goal is not perfection, but connection. Rest is another radical act in a culture that glorifies hustle. Many women push through exhaustion, believing that rest must be earned. But your body and mind are not machines. Without quality rest, deep sleep, unhurried moments of stillness, you run on empty, and everything from mood to creativity suffers. Daily self-love includes setting a bedtime routine that signals safety and calm. It means taking breaks before burnout, not after. It might mean a quiet cup of tea, a few minutes of breathing, or simply putting your phone down to give your brain a true pause. Creating rituals of joy is another layer of this practice. Joy doesn't have to wait for special occasions. It can live in the morning sunlight on your face, a favorite song played loud, or 5 minutes spent stretching with intention. By weaving pleasure into everyday life, you train your nervous system to associate ordinary moments with delight. This is especially healing if you've spent years delaying happiness until some external milestone was reached. Radical self-love says happiness is not a destination. It is something you cultivate now, in the smallest details. Boundaries remain essential here as well. Loving yourself daily means saying no to what drains you and yes to what restores you. Maybe that's declining an extra project at work, limiting social media that fuels comparison, or carving out uninterrupted time for your hobbies. Each time you honor these boundaries, you reinforce the truth that your time and energy are precious. This is not about shutting the world out. It's about ensuring that what comes in supports your well-being instead of eroding it. Connection with others can also be a practice of radical self-love. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and celebrate your growth. Seek friendships and communities where mutual support is natural, where you can be your unfiltered self. This might mean spending less time with those who criticize or dismiss your needs. While it can feel uncomfortable to step back from relationships that no longer align, it creates space for connections that nourish rather than drain you. Radical self-love is also about embracing your whole story. Many of us carry memories of mistakes or moments of shame that feel like permanent stains. But self-love invites you to see those moments as chapters, not definitions. It asks you to forgive yourself, to release the weight of what you could have done differently, and to honor the strength it took to get here. This doesn't mean ignoring the past. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and choosing to treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a dear friend. Mindfulness plays a quiet but powerful role in daily self-love. When you practice being fully present, whether through meditation, mindful walking, or simply breathing deeply, you interrupt the cycle of rushing from one task to the next. You notice how food tastes, how air feels in your lungs, how your body wants to move or rest. These moments of awareness are acts of respect for your own life. They remind you that you are not just crossing off to-do lists, you are living, feeling, and evolving in real time. Your environment matters too. The spaces where you live and work can either deplete or support you. Radical self-love might look like clearing clutter from your bedroom so rest feels inviting, bringing plants into your workspace for a touch of calm, or creating a morning corner where you can journal or stretch. These physical changes signal to your mind that your well-being is a priority. They also make it easier to maintain the habits that sustain you. Importantly, radical self-love is not about doing everything perfectly. Some days, your best act of self-care might be brushing your teeth and drinking water. Other days, it might be deep journaling or a long walk at sunset. The point is consistency, not performance. Over time, these seemingly small daily choices add up to a life shaped by respect and compassion for yourself. This daily practice also fuels resilience. When challenges arise, stress at work, family conflicts, unexpected loss, you have a foundation of care that steadies you. You know how to pause, breathe, and respond from strength instead of panic. You trust that you can meet difficulties without abandoning yourself. That trust becomes one of the most profound gifts of radical self-love. The unshakable knowledge that you will always show up for yourself, no matter what. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It is something you create moment by moment through action. So many women are taught to believe that confidence is the reward for being flawless. You imagine that when you finally lose the weight, get the promotion, or have the perfect relationship, you will magically feel bold and unstoppable. But confidence does not work like that. It isn't built by perfection. It is built by practice. Every courageous action, no matter how small, is a brick in the foundation of trust you have in yourself. The first shift in this journey is letting go of the belief that fear must disappear before you act. Waiting to feel fearless is the fastest way to stay stuck. Fear is a natural response to growth. It shows up every time you stretch beyond what is familiar. The presence of fear isn't proof you can't. It's proof that you're right on the edge of something meaningful. True confidence means moving forward with fear, not waiting for it to vanish. You tell yourself, I don't have to feel ready, I just have to begin. That decision, to begin before perfection, is where self-belief starts to grow. Action is powerful because it creates evidence. Each time you speak up in a meeting, try a new skill, or set a boundary, you show your own mind that you are capable. These moments may feel small, but they are life-changing. They teach your brain to associate effort with strength instead of shame. Slowly, you replace the old story of "I can't" with a new one. "I figure things out." This is how trust in yourself is built, not through external validation, but through a steady pattern of showing up, even when it's uncomfortable. Keeping promises to yourself is another cornerstone of confidence. Think of how easily you keep commitments to others. Meeting a friend, finishing a work task, yet how quickly you cancel on yourself. Every time you postpone your own goals or self-care, you signal to your subconscious that your word doesn't count. Reversing this pattern is transformative. Start with small, doable commitments. Maybe it's 10 minutes of exercise, a morning journal entry, or finally making that phone call you've been avoiding. When you follow through, no matter how minor the action seems, you reinforce the belief that you can rely on you. Over time, this quiet reliability becomes unshakable self-confidence. Confidence also grows when you learn to separate outcome from identity. Many of us tie our self-worth to results, a project's success, someone's approval, or a flawless performance. But the truth is that failure is part of growth. When you take action and it doesn't go as planned, it doesn't mean you are a failure. It simply means you are learning. Reframing setbacks as feedback keeps you moving forward instead of shrinking back. The more you practice this mindset, the more risks you're willing to take, because you know your value is never on trial. Another essential element is self-acceptance in the present moment. Building confidence does not mean ignoring your insecurities or pretending everything is perfect. It means embracing the truth of where you are while staying committed to where you're going. Confidence is born when you can say, "This is me right now, and I'm still worthy of love and opportunity." From that place of acceptance, change becomes a choice rather than a desperate attempt to earn worth. Surrounding yourself with supportive influences plays a quiet but powerful role in this process. The people and environments you spend time with either nurture your courage or drain it. Seek out mentors, friends, and communities that celebrate your efforts rather than criticize your missteps. Spend time with those who inspire action, not paralysis. Their energy will help normalize growth and make your own leaps feel less lonely. Daily habits can also fuel this confidence. Simple practices like setting clear intentions each morning, reflecting on small wins at night, or even powerfully adjusting your posture when you speak all reinforce the message that you belong in every space you enter. These aren't superficial tricks. They are ways to train your mind and body to show up fully. Over time, these habits become second nature, creating a baseline of quiet confidence you carry into every challenge. Learning new skills is another action-driven way to expand confidence. Every time you step into a beginner's role, you practice courage. Whether it's taking a class, learning a language, or trying a creative hobby, you remind yourself that growth is exciting, not threatening. This attitude breaks the cycle of perfectionism because you are no longer attached to being immediately excellent. Instead, you become someone who thrives in the process of becoming. Your relationship with self-talk matters as well. Confidence grows when you speak to yourself as an ally rather than an enemy. Instead of repeating, "I can't," you might tell yourself, "I'm willing to try," or "I can learn as I go." These subtle but consistent shifts create a mindset of possibility. Your words shape your inner world, and your inner world shapes the actions you are willing to take. Handling criticism is another defining moment for confidence. Feedback, whether fair or harsh, can either break or build you depending on how you interpret it. When you are action-oriented, you learn to separate helpful guidance from noise. You listen for lessons without letting someone else's opinion rewrite your value. This skill not only protects your self-esteem, but also frees you to take bolder steps, because you are no longer controlled by the fear of what others might think. Resilience is the natural result of action-based confidence. The more you practice doing things before you feel fully ready, the more you realize you can handle the unexpected. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become opportunities to prove to yourself that you are resourceful and capable. Each time you rise after a setback, you deepen your trust in your own strength. Action also creates momentum. Confidence is rarely a lightning bolt of sudden belief. It is more like a flywheel that gains speed with every push. The first step might feel awkward or small, but each step builds on the last. Eventually, movement itself becomes motivation. Instead of waiting for confidence to start, you act, and the action generates the very confidence you were waiting for. Finally, embodying confidence means allowing yourself to be fully visible. This might mean sharing your ideas in a meeting, posting your creative work online, or simply walking into a room without shrinking. Visibility can feel risky because it invites judgment, but it is also where growth happens. Every time you let yourself be seen, you affirm that your presence and voice matter. You show the world and yourself that you refuse to hide until you're perfect.